Today is more of a humble attempt for me to blend between Islamic and parametric architecture. There are some interesting features that we are going to learn today. We are going to blend between Muqarnas and Islamic star pattern, and also some kind of Islamic decorations and Islamic patterns. So it's a lot of elements and a lot of interesting design features in in one single tutorial. And this is basically a concept for a mosque, but I still need to design I still need to design the dome in the middle. But for now, this is the progress for the design itself. And today we are going to learn how to do this. And at the end of the tutorial, you can probably suggest something for the dome and in the comments. So for now, let's start to learn how to do this. Welcome to day 26 of 30 scripts in 30 days. Let's start. So the first element I want to start with is simply a circle. And right now I want the circle to have a 50 radius. I'm not interested to make it extremely large, but that's great. After that, I want to divide it into multiple points. And right now these points, let me just change this color back to red just for this. And after that, I want to connect all these points in a star pattern. So I'm going to make a line between this and the shift of these points. So right now, if I connect this to here, you can see that it's connecting between the first and the second element, because this is the shift in this case is 1. But if I increase this to, let's say, 3, it's basically connecting this and then ignore the first, the second, and then goes to the third. So that's great, because this will help us create what we want to create. And from here, I want to go back a little bit and just figure out how many points we need. So my intention is to create something inspired by this. I want to create multiple elements, and then at some areas I want to create the entrance zones, and then there will be multiple elements, and these elements will be the host of Muqarnas, and will be host for something parametric and Muqarnas and Islamic at the same time. So this will be very interesting. And to do something like this, I want something to be related to the number 8. So if I go to 8 and I duplicate this number, I'm going to multiply it first by 2. So the first layer will be 8, but then the second layer will be 16, and then the third layer will be 32, which is really important. So the number I'm looking for in here is 32, and then I'm going to divide it later into smaller numbers. So right now this number is 32, and this is going to be a very huge amount of points, but it's exactly what I'm looking for. After that, I need to increase this shift to get this part smaller, because I want to have maybe something related to dome, Islamic dome, or maybe Islamic dome, or maybe something else. But for now, I'm going to make the void for it. And right now the shift is not perfect. I need this number to be increased. So I'm going to maybe increase this number to 20 probably, just to have more flexibility. And I'm going to increase this number, but I want you to understand something. If this number goes to 16, this means that these are 32 points. This means that this point is going to exactly the opposite. So this number should be less. Maybe 15. 15 is very tiny, so maybe 14 or 13. It depends. Maybe even smaller, but I think in this case I'm going to go with 13. I think it's reasonable number in this case. After that, if I hide all of this, I should have all of these curves. And what I want to do right now is to simply make a, a specific design out of these. So I'm going to simply just draw in each on each curve. I'm going to grab this point, I'm going to raise it up so I have another point, and then at the middle of this curve I'm going to have, let's say, another point, and this one I'm going to raise it more up, and then I'm going to do the same for this one. I'm going to raise it, so I should have maybe something like this. And when I have something like this happen with all of them, the intersection of them will be very interesting. And then I'm going to probably add a smooth curve at the beginning. So let's try to do that. The first thing I want to grab is basically the endpoints, and then I'm going to grab the curve middle. So right now I should have those 3 points, and I'm going to connect them with a line. First of all, I'm going to graft this just so everything will not be as confusing, and then I'm going to just connect this but with the end. After that, I'm going to merge everything, those with those, so I should have 2 elements. That's great. And after that, I'm going to grab the end points for all of them, and I want to make something interesting. I'm going to move the first point, and the first point is moving 10. Maybe I'm going to just clarify this by moving them into 10 meters, and I'm going to probably move the other one. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to just move the other one right here, but the other one, which is the midpoint, I'm going to move it 15 so it's a little bit higher, and right now I should have something like this. And I'm going to merge everything, so I'm going to merge those, and I'm going to merge actually, I'm going to merge the first element, which is this start, and then I'm going to merge those, and those. So right now I should have 6, but let's graft those. And after grafting, I should have 3, which is great. And after that, I'm going to make a polyline out of this. So I'm going to say BLI, and I should have something like this. If I select all of these and just hide, I should have that, which is really great because right now I'm going to flatten this, and I'm going to have the intersections between all of them because I want to divide all of these curves. I want to split them into multiple pieces, but I want them to be split exactly at these intersections. So there's something called in here called multiple curves, which is basically grabbing all the intersections between everything. And I'm going to shatter all of these curves, and I'm going to select any one of them, any one of these. But in here, I'm going to make sure that these are grafted, so it will shatter every curve by all of these parameters. And there's a really important thing that is happening in here, because right now you can see that these are probably 14, and right now in here there's a lot of elements. So if I grabbed one of these elements, right now I should have these, okay, and then I'm going to say list item. Right now I only had one branch of these, so I'm going to select this, and I'm going to check. Right now I should have this, and then the next item is going to be, if I go to 3 for example, the next item, let's select this. This is the first, and then the second, and then the third is very tiny element in here, almost invisible. So to fix that, I'm going to eliminate all the small elements in here. And right now I'm going to work on only one curve, and then I'm going to continue the process from here. So I think this is not necessary now. I'm going to select this. By the way, this is tree branch check. You can just have all of these and create your own, or you can have it when you have the script. It's very simple component, but I use it a lot, so it's easier to make custom components to save your time. And from here I want to get the length from all of these curves, and I want to make sure I remove any smaller objects. So I'm going to cull pattern, and I'm going to cull all the elements in here that are equal with tolerance to the number 0. So I'm going to grab 0, and just like that I'm going to remove anything that is smaller than the 0. So right now, instead of 151, I should have only 14. So that's great. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And from here, I can just select this and make it as a group. And then I'm going to mirror it to the other side. And I'm going to mirror it on the XZ plan. So I'm going to say XZ plane, sorry. And after that, I'm going to array array polar. I'm going to array all of these with these, and I'm going to array them to the number 32 that we did before. So I'm going to say 32. And right now I should have everything back to the original number. And right now I'm going to before we do that, there's something important I need to do. So I need to do the curve in the beginning. So I'm going to select list item, and I'm going to select the second item also. I'm going to make this as 0, and then right click and multi-line data, and then I'm going to make 0 and enter and 1. So I should have those, and I'm going to select those two items. So right now I should have those, which is good. And I'm going to move this a little bit here, and I'm going to join those. So right now I should have one element right here, and from here I'm going to control points. I'm going to grab the control points of this, and I'm going to transform these control points into simply NURBS curve, so I can make something curved like this. But in this case the degree is 3, and there's only 3 points, so the degree 2 will work better. And right now I have these, but the second I'm going to cull index, and I'm going to cull all of these indices. So right now I have those, which are the first two, and then the rest, which are these, and I'm going to merge between all of these. So I'm going to merge between this and this, and I'm going to simply flatten all of these elements. And after flattening, I'm going to make them into the group and just make the mirror and everything else. So this is really great. And from here I'm going to simply bake, and no need to make them groups. They are already groups. This group has 13 curves, as you can see, and I'm going to ungroup everything in here. So everything is just ungroup, and let's save and just make sure everything's good. From here, the next few steps, I made them parametric while preparing this, but it was a lot of unnecessary work. So I think the smart thing to do is to just do them in here manually, and then reference the surface inside, right, inside Grasshopper back. So I'm going to the top, and then I'm going to select these curves with these curves, and I'm going to make an edge surface. I'm going to select all of these, like all of this row until the end. So I'm going to simply select those and edge surface, and I'm going to repeat the process until I'm done. The last one, you should notice that these are not one curve, these are two, so they are four curves, and you will have something like this. And these are great, but I think I will need also those two based on my own um, script. So for now, I'm going to do those. And right now, you should have this full, all of these curves, and then these two, all of these surfaces, and then these two. And then I'm going to simply just select all of the curves, and probably I'm going to add them to, first of all, I'm going to again um, cell curves, and I'm going to make them into group, just they will be easily selected. And then I'm going to change object layer into hidden, and then I'm going to hide them, and in here I'm going to hide those. And right now I should have those. I'm going to group them also, and those I'm going to simply bring them into here. So I'm going to make a surface, and I'm going to add them into surfaces, something like this. From here, I'm going to also change those into the hidden. So change object layer, and that's great. Right now, I want to deal with them, but I want to deal with them. I want to sort them first. So I'm going to sort them based on their area from the larger to the smaller. So I'm going to say area, and from here, I'm going to reverse this so it will start from the larger, and then I'm going to list item. I want to select multiple elements, and right now I'm going to make an SER, so a series, and then I'm going to say 3 in here. So right now I'm selecting the biggest 3, maybe even the biggest 4 in this case, and then those I'm going to simply make an array polar, and I'm going to make those into 8. The biggest ones, I'm going to array them into 8. And in here comes the part where the numbers matter. So the first one I'm going to array into 8, but then I want to cull index, and I'm going to cull these indices. So right now I'm working with those, and I'm going to copy those. Let's organize things a little bit, and maybe even push those so it will be more readable. And I'm going to copy those, and I'm going to connect them to this one. So instead of uh, dealing with this, I'm going to deal with this one, and this one I'm going to only cut one element. So I'm going to cut one element, which is this, and I'm going to make an array polar for this, and this one I'm going to make it into 16 right here. So it will look like this. That's great. And the rest of them are going to be, let's push those a little bit, and the rest of them are going to be arrayed, but they are going to be arrayed into 32. So this will be exactly what we are looking for. As you can see, if we hide all of this, everything will be repeated exactly as we wish. And in these corners, we'll have the entrances or something interesting, and these will be the host surfaces for the muqarnas that we will create. Right now, these are just references. I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm going to work with the original surfaces, which they are in here. So I'm going to grab those surfaces. This is the first one, and this is the second one, and this is the third one, which is right here. And from these, I'm going to start doing something with them. So right now, I should just preview these off. And from here, I'm going to start doing something with them. I'm going to preview of this. And from here, I'm going to create an offset inside this because I want to create, let's say, a frame inside this. But the problem is that if I create a frame, let me show you. If I create a frame, normally it will be like this. It will ruin the surface a little bit. Not exactly what I'm looking for. So no, not that. I want the element to be scaled. First of all, I'm going to rebuild everything just so we will have clean surfaces. And right now, if you look in here, these are the rebuilt surfaces, so they need more control points in the U and V. So I'm going to say 10, maybe 10, like not 110, only 10. Okay, and I'm going to connect this in here and in here, so it's like good for the for all the surfaces. I'm going to make sure everything is grafted, nothing is flattened. And from here, I want to create the surface that I want to create. So the first thing I want to do is to grab an area, to grab the center for each, and I'm going to scale this element from its own center, and I'm going to scale it, but I want the scaling to be 0.85 probably. I think 0.85 is going to be a reasonable number for this. And let's see what we are dealing with. Right now we should have something like this based on that. Let's preview this on and look at it on the top. It looks good, kind of. And I'm going to get the discontinuity for this, and I'm going to project it on the ground, and I'm going to make a polyline out of this. And the reason is I want to cut this shape, which is, let's hide everything in here, maybe only show this. I want to keep the curvature of this because I want to everything to still stay continuous. But if I changed something in here, if I maybe made a loft or something, that the curvature of the shape will be different. So I'm going to make this into a closed polyline, and I'm going to make it into a boundary surface, and I'm going to extrude this in the Z direction, but I'm going to make it probably, let's say 20, something a little bit larger than this number. So I'm going to say 20 in here, and now it's intersecting with the main surface. So I'm going to lower this a little bit down, maybe even organize things a little bit more, something like this. And from here, I'm going to split pair. I think in this case, we are going to split each pair once, so we don't need multiple. And from here, you can see that each pair, if we hide this, each pair is split already. And right now, if I go to list item, this is the frame, and this is the internal surface. And from here, I'm going to extrude the surface. I'm going to extrude it in the Z direction, in the negative, and I'm going to say 1.0. We can make it into something like this, and I'm going to make it into something like this. It will host the panels, which is, I hope it's good. And that's great. I think in this case we can I'm interested to see it in a different color. I'm interested to see it in a different color, so I'm going to custom preview, and I'm going to make this into something beiges a little bit. So I'm going to swatch and maybe change this to something a little bit like this, probably. Mm, maybe something like this. And I'm going to hide everything in here and maybe look at it in the rendered view. Yes, that's great. And from here we can go look at the rest of this. So I'm going to go to this, which is the surface itself, but the surface itself I want to make it into panels. So if I go to quad panels directly, I will have a problem because it's referencing the original curve, not the frame. So I need to uh, get to the discontinuity of this, and from these discontinuity I'm going to shatter 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 this, and from here I'm going to have four edges. So I'm going to edge surface, and first of all I'm going to list item all of this and select all of these four edges. So I'm going to simply 1 2 3 4, so I should have a new surface, which should be good. And in this case I'm going to just make a quad panel again, and right now you can see that it's respecting the new surface, but I should have a problem right now. If I go to this and make it into 3, for example, the orientation of those is not the same. Some of them are going this direction, some of them are going that direction, which is not good. So I need to unify them. So I'm going to unify all of them, and then from the unification I'm going to use one of them as a reference. So I'm going to list item, and from this list item I'm going to select this, but I'm going to flatten everything in here and use the first one as a guide. So right now all of them are moving in the same direction, which is good. Right now I'm interested to make this into the same number, but I made this into the same direction because later I'm going to add muqarnas to them, and the muqarnas should face the same direction. So it's important to make this into the same direction from now. And I think in this case these are the 8, so I'm going to make them into 8 because these are the biggest one. So I'm going to make them into 8 divisions, right, like this. And from these 8 divisions I'm going to try to make the muqarnas out of them. First of all, I'm going to make a bounding box. I'm going to make a bounding box for each one, and as you can see the bounding box is interesting, but it's not exactly the shape that I want to use the bounding box as a projection for if I go to deconstruct uh, brep, and I'm going to simply select list item, but in this case I'm going to reverse this, and right now I'm selecting the top and the bottom. I'm going to use these surfaces as a projection for the original surface. So I'm going to lower this a little bit, and from here I want to get the centers, and I'm going to project both on both centers. So I'm going to first of all I'm going to graft this because right now these are a lot of points, and right now these are grafted, so I need to graft those. And from here I'm going to project those on these 2 points. So this one, not this one, this one and this one. So I should have projections of all of these. If you hide this and actually hide this, you can see everything is projected up and down, and that's great. And from here I want to loft these and just cap them, and from here I think if we just grab this and make it move forward to here, you can just see those, which are really representing the muqarnas, but we can create an actual muqarnas inside them, so this should be interesting. In here, I have my own version of muqarnas. I'm going to just, this is just a normal model, nothing very fancy. You can create your own version of this as long as it's just basically a box. You can carve it however you want. And I'm going to use this in here. So I'm going to simply bring this as a peer. And I'm going to morph it into a twisted box. But first I need to create the twisted box. So I'm going to use these surfaces as a twisted box. So if I'm going in here, I'm going to use these as a twisted boxes. Um, Not exactly those, I'm going to use those. And I'm going to project them. I'm going to, separate them. So I'm going to list item, and right now this is the top and this is the bottom, and I'm going to create a twisted box between two surfaces. This is a custom cluster I created before. Basically it's the surfaces, and then you explode them. Let me just show you in here. You explode the surfaces, and then you remove any unnecessary points. You make a shift for the points, and then you make them into a twisted box. Nothing fancy, but it saves me a lot of time. And I'm going to make a shift. For now I'm going to make the shift 0, so it doesn't matter as much. And in here I'm going to morph those, not this one. I'm going to morph to twisted box, and these are the twisted boxes, and this is the geometry. And in here the reference box for the geometry, so I'm going to say bounding box in this case, and I'm going to use the bounding box as a reference for such a thing. I'm going to preview of everything and maybe even preview of this, and let's see the muqarnas itself. And now I want just to see them in a different color. So right now, first of all, they are upside down, so I need to reverse those. So after reversing them, they will be from the top to the bottom. And this is why the orientation that we have done in here matters, because right now all of them are facing the same direction. So if I changed the order of the points, instead of the shift being 0, I'm going to say the shift will be 1. So right now they are facing outside. I'm going to make the shift into 3. They should be facing inside, so that's great. And then I'm going to simply move them, and I'm going to move them maybe, let's say, from, actually I'm going to move them in a different matter. So I'm going to say move 2 points, and I'm going to grab those 2 points, and one of them is going to be uh, the first point, and the other is going to be the second point. So it's basically I'm pushing them down. And why? Because I want to add them to here, and then I'm going to preview this on. So I should have something like this, which is, if you look at it from the top, it will look like a steps or something like fractal a little bit maybe. But if you look at it from the bottom, it's an actual muqarnas inside the mosque or inside this Islamic structure, which is really great. And I think in this case you can start basically array everything. and I'm going to select all of this into here, and I'm going to make the array. As I mentioned before, this one is going to be 8, which if you look in here, it's this element. So I'm going to grab this 8 right here, and I'm going to add it to here, and then I'm going to show everything with this color, and let's hide those. So right now I should have 8 elements like this, and I think in this case maybe this should be going into the hidden layer, because I don't want it to be confused or anything. So this is great. And from here, I'm going to, right now, all of this is happening for the first elements. So I'm going to lower those down a little bit, and I'm going to maybe even like try to push them a little bit away, because I want to copy this part, all of it until here. And I'm going to Control C, Control V, and just push this down. Okay, and I'm going to connect these instead, this surface instead, and from here I want this to be less. So right now these are 8, maybe 4 will be more than enough in this case, and I'm going to connect this number into the 16, and then I'm going to connect this array into here, and let's see what we have done. I think in this case we don't need the muqarnas itself because it's very tiny, so I'm going to just select this part in here and just delete it in this. So in here we will have these bigger boxes, and I think in this case we can just copy all of this again, Control C, Control V, and just lower it down like this, and connect the last few ones. And in here, let's see what we have done. I'm going to connect those. By the way, these should be 32 instead. So I'm going to connect it to 32. And from here, I'm going to just connect those to here. Maybe in this case, we can make the number in these last few ones 2 instead, but I'm not sure. Maybe let's try to make it 2. 2, maybe 2 will be better, or I think 4 in this case is a good number. No need to change it. So for now, I think this will be a great example for this part. And right now we have done this, which is great. And from here we can just simply uh, bake everything. And I'm going to say yes, I want everything to be into one big group. And from here it will take a few seconds, and after that I'm going to move on to the next part. But before that, I'm going to make sure everything is working properly. So right now I should have, yes, if I hide this, I should have my own element in here, and this is great. I'm going to save. From here you can see all the details for everything together, and right now this is great. I'm going to hide it. um, I'm going to hide it, and I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to just grab those curves again. I'm interested to do something with them, so I'm going to copy those curves, just let's say 50, and I'm going to isolate those curves, and I'm going to ungroup those, and I'm going to the top, and I'm interested to make the surfaces out of them. Right now, not the surfaces, I want to make the entrance part. So right now, as you can see, we can just select this and this and this and this. We have 4, and then we have another 4 in this side, so I can just select those, and move them, let's say 50, and I'm going to work on those only. I don't want those, and I'm going to just lower those 50 back. So I'm going to work on those. So if I join those and then select them, I'm not interested in all of these points, so I'm going to basically simplify. That's great. And I'm going to mirror them from this point to this point. So I should have something like this when you look at it from the top. And Gumbo relocate, I'm going to select this from here to here and move it 1 meter, so I will have thickness a little bit. And this will be very big extension above the entrances or the windows or anything. So I'm going to reduce it a little bit. So I'm going to Gumbo relocate from here to here, and I'm going to make this into 0.5. So I should have something like this. And when you look at it in the top, if you make an array polar and you do something like this, you should have something like this, which is great, but I'm not interested to have a lot of curves. I'm just showing what the final result might look like as an outline for the mosque. And right now I can just simply select this, and I want to make a surface out of this, but I want to make a clean surface. So I'm going to simply I'm going to Gumbo relocate from here to here, and I should have this right here, and I'm going to click on Alt and hold the Alt, and then I'm going to move in this direction, but then I will release the Alt and then I will grab to the point. So right now I have a copy exactly at this point, and I'm going to copy it to the other side, probably from here to here, and I'm going to make an offset out of them. Actually, let's remove that and make an offset out of this first. I'm going to make an offset, let's say, I'm going to make an offset, and the offset is going to be, make sure the cap is flat, because it will make like a thickness like this, and this number is going to be 1 I think is a good number. And then I'm going to Gumbo relocate again from here to here, and then I'm going to extrude this like a lot, like this, and I'm going to simply I'm going to basically select those two, and I'm going to grab them somewhere here, and I'm going to flatten them and make a simplify curved and just split. So right now I should have those splitted, and that's great. And from here I want to make something a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to copy this curve from this point to this point, and I'm going to copy this curve also from this point to this point, so they should be intersecting with each other. And I'm going to move them 50 just away, and I'm going to trim these edges and loft. Okay, and I'm going to move them, I'm going to take a copy out of this, and I'm going to move it to 50, and I'm going to offset surface this, and I'm going to make it actually both sides, maybe solid, yes, and both sides. um, the distance is 0.3, that's great. Delete input, I think delete input will not be a good idea to be like this. Maybe we should flip it, because I want it to be inside. And I'm going to select this, and I'm going to Boolean difference, and I'm going to select this and Boolean difference, and I'm going to select the poly surface, the inside one, and I'm going to delete it. And this actual surface, I'm going to make an offset surface for it. Maybe not. Let's just remove it, because I want to see this. That's great. And from here I want to create something else. I want to create a surface that will host the actual um, uh, the actual uh, parametric Islamic pattern. So I'm going to basically explode this, and I'm going to remove those two. I'm not interested to see them, or I'm going to join, and right now I should have this. I will use it later, but right now I'm interested in this. I'm going to basically Gumber relocate. I'm going to make an offset out of it first. Offset, and let's make an offset, and the offset is going to be 0.1, something very narrow. And in this case, I'm not interested to see a cap, so I'm going to say none. So I'm going to make an offset inside, and this inside curve, I'm going to copy it from this point to this point. So it will be a little bit inside, and I'm making it basically flat because when I add the surface on top, when I add the pattern on top of it, I want it to be flat. Not the pattern will not be adaptive. The pattern will be more like laid on top of it. So I'm going to make a loft out of this. That's great. And I'm going to use this inside Grasshopper in here. And I want this to be set. Actually, it's a pyramid, so I'm going to make it into a pyramid like this. And from here, I want to deconstruct the pyramid, and I should have two surfaces. I will use one of them only. And let's see, I'm going to hide this, maybe add it to the hidden layer, change object layer. Actually, I'm going to show everything and just turn off this, and I'm going to simply select everything in here except this one probably, and then change object layer for now. And I think right now I should have only this as a closed poly surface, and maybe this I will use it later in case, but for now actually let's add it to the hidden. So change object layer, and right now I should have something like this, which is great. If you remember at day 20, let's say at day 24, we created this pattern and applied it on a sub D surface. And right now I'm grabbing the same pattern, but I cleaned it a little bit, so everything is exactly mirrored. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to simply copy trim, and I'm going to use this surface right here, which is set one surface. And by the way, I need to subdivide this first, so I'm going to parametrically subdivide the surface. So I'm going to select those, and just in case we are going to reparameterize this, I think it will need to be rebuilt. Let's check. I don't think we need to reparameterize, but I might need to rebuild. So this is the target, and these are going to be the reference. So yes, it will need to be rebuilt because this is not the same as this. So I'm going to rebuild the surface right here, and again I'm going to just make those into 10 in the U and the V, and I'm going to connect it like this. So right now I should have, if I hide all of this and even those, I should have something like this, which is great. Actually, let's for now preview this on so I will see. Right now I need to just make something out of this. Right now this is, let's make this into a range, the normal range, and I'm going to make it into this, and let's see, I think the scale of this is more reasonable. Maybe in this case we can make another one, and in here it's 10. I'm going to say it's in here 5, so I'm going to make this into 3, and the 3 will make it into 4 elements, and I'm going to connect it to here. Is it better? Maybe. I think it is. It's more better a little bit. And from here I think um, things are more clear now. So this is the copy trim, and here comes the most important part. I'm going to make I'm going to bake those and as a group, so they should be a group. After that I'm going to grab this and move it up a little bit. I'm going to say 50, and I think in this case I'm going to hide this, and I believe maybe we should I'm going to show everything in here, and I should have some curves in here. So I'm going to have this curve and this curve, and I'm going to copy it somewhere in here. I'm going to flatten it, and I'm going to probably not join it. I'm going to first of all simplify it, and I'm going to explode it, and from here I'm going to delete this. I'm not interested in it, and maybe hide those for a second. I'm going to hide those, and maybe in this case I'm going to just try to cut everything in here with those. Is it going to cut perfectly? I hope. Let's ungroup those, and I'm going to simply just try to select all of these uncutted, all of these exterior surfaces. I'm going to simply select and delete, and so on, like this. And I think now I have my own selection. I think this one is not with us, and right now I have those, which should be good. And I'm going to make them into group, and I'm going to offset surface all of them in this direction. Perfect. And I'm going to wait for a few seconds, and after that I'm going to just lower this back. Right now I'm not interested to see this. Let's show everything, make sure everything is showing, and then I'm going to hide everything that is not related to what I'm doing, and I'm going to just lower this to 50, and I'm going to select, I'm going to mirror this from here to here, and right now I should have, if I look at this right now, I should have something like this, which is really great. I'm going to make those all of them. First of all, I'm going to match the color of them to that, or the material actually, and I'm going to make them into a block because I don't want I don't want them to be like, I don't want the file to have a lot of modeling. I wanted to have references. So right now this is a block, and I'm going to lower it another 50, so it should be to here. And from here I'm going to make an array polar, and okay, and make sure it's 8, and perfect. So right now I have this, which is really great. It has all the essential elements. I think in this case we can just select this surface and just add it to the hidden. Just change object layer, and this one I didn't use it, so maybe I should delete it. And just right now we should save before we move on to the next step. After that comes a really important part, but I think there's like a reflection in here. I'm not interested to see it, so I'm going to double click on this and make it 0, and also double click on the reflectivity and also make it 0. But once it respond, yes, and make this also 0. I don't want any colors in here. Let me just grab everything and just assign this material instead. Yes to all. And yes, I think this material is way much better because I don't want any reflectivity. It looks much better in here. Okay, that's great. I think one more thing we need to do is to basically try to make something out of these elements. So I'm going to go to the shaded view first, and I'm going to go to the layer hidden, and I'm going to show everything, and I'm interested to make something out of this basically. I want to make actually, let's grab those edges. I think these edges might be interesting. So I'm going to make a copy out of this. I think in this case, maybe you shouldn't enable this. Maybe I should just copy this to a 50 and explode it. And once I explode it, I will delete everything inside almost. I just want to duplicate those edges, so I'm going to double click on these and shift and double click on these and duplicate edges. Okay, and then I'm going to delete this, so I should have this, which is the internal edge, and I'm going to join it, but I'm going to join this, and I'm going to join this, and I'm going to move them, gamba relocate from here to here. Actually, I'm not going to move it. I think it will be good, but for now I'm going to just simply loft them. Okay, and I should have this surface, which is going to be great, and I'm going to divide it into multiple elements. So what I want to do is simply grab this curve. Maybe I should, before I do that, I should add a curve in the bottom, and then I'm going to divide this curve into 4 segments. Make sure this number is 4, and then I'm going to copy this from here to here to here to here, and then I'm going to do the same with the other one. I'm going to copy it from here to here to here to here, so I will have something like this, which is kind of interesting. And after that I'm going to just loft this. Perfect. And then I'm going to split it with all of these elements, so I should have multiple surfaces like this, which is great for now, but I'm not interested to. I'm going to select those, and maybe in this case we might need to select those. Let's try to add more elements inside. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to tween curves, and the tween I'm going to make the numbers 2, and I'm going to select those also and make the number 2, and I'm going to select this one right here with this one and make it 2, and I'm going to select the opposite and tween 2 and tween 2 and tween 2. And right now I'm going to just simply maybe move those to here somewhere. So I'm going to say 50, not 50, actually let's make it only 10 or 15, just a little bit away. And from here, I'm going to select those surfaces. And let's try to split them. So I'm going to split with all of this. And not perfect. So I think in this case, maybe we should select all of these except this one. So right now I'm selecting only the curves, and I'm going to Gumbo relocate from here to here. Actually, let's not do that. Let's just copy them and then flatten them to flatten, something like this. And I'm going to, let's try to do it this way. And is it perfect? I think now it's perfect. All of these surfaces are good. And after that, we can move those back to here. So I'm going to say 50, actually 15. And maybe in this case, I'm going to select all the curves. And I'm going to add them to the hidden. And even those points, I'm going to add them to the hidden. Not interested to see them. And from here, I should have all of these surfaces except those. And I'm going to bring them to here somewhere. I'm going to use them for something. So I'm going to set multiple surfaces. After that, I'm going to rebuild those surfaces. So I'm going to just hide them. I'm going to change object layer right here. And I'm going to just shatter everything. First of all, I'm going to graft and shatter those based on their discontinuity. So I should have 4 points for each, and this should give me 4 edges. And after that, I'm going to simply grab those edges. So list item, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great. And I'm going to edge surface them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's great. Those are now rebuilt out of the original ones. And then I'm going to make a frame out of them. So the frame is going to be, let's say, 0.85. So it's not extreme, but it's not small, something like this. That's great. I'm going to hide those. And then from here, the frame itself, I'm going to extrude it, and the extrusion for the frame is going to be based on a vector, and the vector is going to be perpendicular on this. So to do that, I'm going to grab this vector right here. I'm going to set one vector, and I'm going to select the starting point, which is any point in here, and then I'm going to try to just move around in here until somehow it understands that I'm trying to grab the on birip. And once I go to on birip, I will select it. But if I connect this directly, it will extrude with the big number that I have. I need to control this more, so I'm going to have an amplitude, and the amplitude is going to be a specific number. So for example, I'm going to connect this to here and make this, let's say, 0.5. So, or maybe 1 in this case. 1 is going to be the thickness for such a thing, and that's great. We can just, I might need to use this vector for the other part, so I'm going to keep it right here. And then the panel itself, let's try to subdivide it. So if I say parametric subdivide to the panel, and it's not working very well, so I will get again this part right here, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to connect all of this to here. The panel, maybe I should connect those, and let's see, I should have all of these surfaces, and probably in this case I'm going to grab those to here. Let's see, It's not perfect. Maybe we should rebuild the curves. So I'm going to rebuild those curves right here, and I'm going to make the number 10. 10 I think is good for this one, and let's rebuild those curves. And once we rebuild this curve, those curves, everything should be working perfectly. And I think in this case we can just get the point for all of them. So first of all, I'm going to move them. I'm going to move all of them, but I'm going to move them with this vector again, and I'm going to move them probably in the negative just a little bit to be mm, not extremely like this. Actually, I'm going to move it in the positive, sorry, and maybe hide those right now because I want them to be inside a little bit, but not a lot. So I want to move them just probably something like this, so they will have a little bit of depth. And then from here I want to grab the centers for all of these faces, and those centers I want to move them with an amplitude, um, or probably let's keep it exactly as it is. I don't want to move them more. So I'm going to extrude those to these points, and let's see what we have done. I think right now this seems interesting because we have something. Um, yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. And then after that, I'm going to merge those, and probably right now I should have something like this, and they are extruded perfect. I think I'm going to merge those right here, and then I'm going to preview off and just bake those. Yes, okay. And once they are baked, I'm going to give them the exact material right here, and when you look at them in here you should see something like this, and I think it's kind of interesting as a shadow and also as a pattern, let's say, or something that is um, 3D element but also have some curves, some arcs, something entwined, probably, I think. And then we can just move on to this part. And this part, I'm interested to make it also a little bit interesting. So I'm going to, I think they are replicated. So I'm going to grab this and just copy it to 15 meters, something like this. And I'm going to uh, basically Gumbo relocate from here to here. And from here, I'm going to simply make a copy out of this, and from this copy I'm going to flatten it. So Gumbo relocate from here to here again and just flatten this one, and I'm going to maybe let's say merge all coplanar faces just to make it as simple as possible. And then I'm going to duplicate the border, and I'm going to delete this. Right now the border should be something like this, maybe, and I'm going to simplify it just to make sure everything is okay, and I'm going to explode it and deselect this one, and I'm going to join, and then I'm going to offset this. Make sure the cap in this case is flat, and I'm going to actually let's make it none for now, and I'm going to make this probably point 2, maybe more. Let's make it point 3, I think 0.3 might be reasonable, at least for this. And then I'm going to just select this and Gamba relocate from this point to this point, and then extrude it. And then I'm going to split this with this. So I should have something like this, which is great. And then I'm going to select this and Gamba relocate from here to here, and I'm going to make an offset 1. And while I am selecting this, I'm going to Gamba relocate again from this point to this point, and I'm going to just flatten it so it will be something like that. That's great. And right now I'm interested to make something out of this, so I'm going to explode, and I'm going to deselect this and join. So right now I have two elements, so I'm going to copy this from here to the mid, and I'm going to copy this from here to the mid, and then I'm going to select those and trim this and this, so I should have something like that. And then I'm going to Gamba relocate from here to here and extrude those, and then I'm going to split with those, and I should have something like this, and that's perfect. And these are exactly what I need, at least at the moment, so that's great. I think now we can have those. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to move them from here to the mid, and then from the mid I'm going to Gamba relocate from the mid to here and just flatten them so they are basically simple. And then I'm going to probably uh, duplicate the borders for all, and then I'm going to offset all of them 0.3 basically to something like this, and I'm going to offset this one, and I'm going to actually 0.3 in this case is a lot, maybe we can reduce the number. So I'm going to offset the curve, but I want it to be 0.2 inside, and I want to do the same for this one, and I want to do the same for this one. And then I'm going to split like this, and then I'm going to select these three surfaces, and I'm going to make an offset surface for them. Make sure it's both sides, and 0.1 probably, I think 0.1 is too much, maybe 0.05, because it will be 0.1 thickness, something like that maybe. And before we move on, first of all I want to have those. I'm going to select them with this, and I'm going to assign the material for them. And just before we move on, because I don't know why it crashes sometimes when I add something in here, so I'm going to make this. I'm going to add a custom material, but before that I'm going to save, and I want to create a transparent material that has a pattern, and this pattern will be transparent at some areas. So before I assign the material to anything, I'm going to simply create the material itself. So I have this image. If I open it, you should have something like this. It's very simple, nothing fancy. I'm going to select this for the material, and then I'm going to the transparency of the material. I'm going to select the same bitmap again, and this will make it, if you look at this, if you look at this right here, you can see that it's basically transparent, and we can change the color itself. So I'm going to make it into something like this, maybe we should change the let's see, I'm going to here and I'm going to make a color mask, not a color mask, not a color mask. I'm going back to this and I should have some color. One second, I'm going to add those to here and let's see what they are looking like. So if I go to here, yes, actually it's working because right now the color is on the transparent part, which is great. We can, I think, in this case select, I don't know, one of these colors that is like similar to this, but I think the pattern is huge. So I'm going to here and I'm going to select these elements and I'm going to go to this and change it to box, and once I change it to box it's more realistic. Now you can make it bigger or smaller if you change these values, but for now I think this looks great, and I'm going to make it into group, and right now I'm going to select those and just go back to the layers and make it into change object layer. So right now they are hidden and I'm going to move this to 15. That's great. And from here I'm going to shade it again because it will be easier to copy them from this point to this point to this point to this point. So I should have something like that. And this, I'm going to make it into block because I want it to be copied. And then I'm going to lower this to 50, and then I'm going to array and make sure it's actually let's try to array again, make sure it's 8, and that's great. And let's see what we have done so far. I think for this tutorial right now we have done a lot of interesting design features and elements, and probably the next step for me is to create a dome inspired also by parametric and Islamic architecture. So um, maybe I will leave that for the next tutorial. But for now, I'm interested to know what kind of dome or which dome from the Islamic architecture you think will fit for this project. Let me know in the comments. And also, what features of this you think is more interesting, the doors or the entrances or the vault itself or these entwined stars, uh, or the basically the muqarnas pattern that is happening. What part of the of today's tutorial is really inspired you? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much. If you are interested to have this file, you will find it on my Patreon. And don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next episode.